Hello Bacha Party, I hope all of you are doing good and I am back with the second video of the video series on electricity and circuits class 6 science. So in this video we are going to learn in bit more detail about a couple of things. For example, electric bulb, the filament in a bulb, what's special about that? Electric switch, battery, electric cell. And all of these are something which we use in our day-to-day life. Even a torch, we often use a torch, right? When there's a power cut, so it's dark everywhere, so we use a torch. So what's the construction and working of a torch? We will also learn about that. So I guess you would have understood that this video is going to be very useful and interesting too. So be with me till the end of this video. So let's get started. So now when we talk about glowing of a bulb, another important thing without which a bulb cannot glow is the electric cell. So everywhere we talk about the battery, we talk about the cell. So why is this cell so important? Now, everywhere we are talking about electric current, we are talking about electrons which are flowing through the circuit. But from where are these electrons coming? Who is generating this electric current? So the generation of electric current is done by the electric cell. So if there is no electric cell, there can be no current in the circuit. So electric cell, presence of an electric cell is very, very important. So let's see what is an electric cell. It is a device that can generate electricity. So if you look at any battery, any pencil battery, you can take it out from maybe your remote or you can take it out from a clock and just try to observe it. What will you see? You will see that there are two ends of the battery. One end has a cap kind of structure like this and the other end has a disc like structure. And the cap like structure end has a positive symbol and the other end has a negative symbol which shows the positive and negative terminals of the battery. So now you might wonder that what is there inside this small cell that causes electricity to generate. So if you actually start looking at the internal structure or the internal composition of a cell, you will see that there are a lot of electrochemical processes, a lot of chemical reactions taking place inside the cell because of which these flow of electrons take place. Now inside the cell there are two electrodes, a positive electrode and a negative electrode, as you can see here. So there is an electrolyte or a solution which contains charged particles, and because of the reactions taking place at this electrolyte, the charged particles flow from one electrode to the other, and this flow of charges constitute electric current. So that's how current gets generated within a cell. Now there are many different types of cells which exist. So you will learn about cells. When you learn about cells, that time you will get to know how different types of cells operate. So basically this is how cell is able to generate electricity. So when we often use the term battery. So how is a battery different from a cell? So when we talk about a cell, it is one single cell where you have one positive terminal, one negative terminal, and that's it. But when two or more cells are connected together, it forms a battery. Now why do we need a battery? Now sometimes the need of electricity is more. We want huge amount of electricity to be generated in a circuit. Now one single cell might not be able to provide that much of electricity. So that time what we do is we combine a lot of electric cells to make a battery which will provide more amount of electricity. So it is something like this. Let's say you have a 10 rupee note. So you just have one 10 rupee note, but you want to buy a burger which costs say 50 rupees. So will you be able to buy with one 10 rupee note? No. Right? So what you need? You would need 5 such 10 rupee notes. So if you have 5 10 rupee notes, so you will be able to buy the burger. So the same thing is true here. So sometimes the need for electricity is more and one cell cannot provide that much of electricity. So that is when multiple cells are joined together to form a battery. So how are the cells connected to form a battery? It is always ensured that the positive terminal of the cell, of one cell, is connected to the negative terminal of the other cell, and so on. So that's how the cells need to be connected. So we always need to make sure that the positive terminal of one cell is connected to the negative terminal of the other cell. So in this way we can connect two or more batteries, two or more cells together to form a battery. So where do we use batteries? A lot of things around us where batteries are used. So some of the best examples are the torch. You switch it on and off and it just gives you light whenever you want. So there are batteries inside it. The remote, a lot of toys operate on batteries. Most of the toys which make some sound, which make some movements, they all operate on batteries. The dolls which dance and sing, they operate on batteries. So the inverter or the power backup which provides us electricity when there is a power cut in our house, they also contain batteries. We have batteries in the engines of car. You also have batteries in a lot of other vehicles. So batteries are something which are very widely used in a lot of. So now we know that electric cell is something which is very, very critical to be present in a circuit, because if there is no electric cell, there will be no electric current in the circuit. So let's try to connect the electric cell to the circuit correctly, because a lot of times what happens is people connect the electric cell to the electric circuit but in an incorrect way, because of which electric current doesn't flow through the circuit. So let us try to connect it. So what do we need? We need a bulb. Why do we need a bulb? Because we want to see. This is one of the best ways to see if current is flowing through the circuit or not. If current flows through the circuit, bulb will glow. If current doesn't flow, the bulb will not glow. So let's say you have this bulb, and this bulb, when you focus at the base of the bulb, you see what is it made up of? You will see that the tip of the bulb is made up of a metal, and again this base of the bulb, it also contains turns of a metal. So this tip of the bulb and the base of the bulb, these are the two terminals of the bulb. So basically you have to connect a wire from this terminal of the bulb and another wire from the tip of the bulb. So these are the two terminals. And now how do we connect it to the electric cell? Now the electric cell, each and every cell will have these labeling, a positive terminal and a negative terminal. So you take out a wire from the positive terminal, you take out a wire from the negative terminal. So in real life, if you want to do it, you just wrap around a wire over the battery and take out one end from this side, the other end from this side. So that's how you connect wires. So now we will see that how do we connect both of these with each other in the right way. Now before that, just wanted to tell this to you. As far as a bulb is concerned, you will always see that this is the base of the bulb. This part, the lowermost bottom part, is the base of the bulb, and this part where you see this ribbed side, so this is called the ribbed side of the bulb, where you can see coils of metal structure, and in between the ribbed side and the base you have an insulating layer which separates the ribbed side and the base, and that prevents the direct flow of charge between these two, and that is why these are two different terminals. For example, here also you have a positive terminal and negative terminal, but something separates these two such that there is no direct flow of charges between them, otherwise they both will become the same terminal. So to keep these two terminals separate, in between them you have an insulating layer. So in between you have an insulating layer which will prevent direct flow of charges between the ribbed side and the base. So now you have two terminals of the bulb connected by these two wires and two terminals of the cell connected by these two wires. Now how do we make the circuit? So let us look at some of the trials to connect the circuit. Now these are some of the ways people try to connect the bulb to the battery, because we know that if we have a cell and if we have a bulb, so the cell will be able to provide electricity. So if we connect these two with the help of conducting wires, then the bulb should glow. So that is our expectation as per what we learned in the theory. So here we see how do we connect the bulb. So a lot of times people take a bulb, they connect it to the positive terminal of the battery. So you see, one terminal of the bulb, that is the base, is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. What about the negative terminal of the battery? It is not at all connected, because the wire which comes out from the bulb is left open, so it doesn't connect to the negative terminal of the battery. Therefore there will be no current flow, because as I said, for current to flow, the circuit needs to be complete. Circuit will be complete only when the circuit is connected from the positive terminal to the negative terminal of the battery. So in this case the circuit is not complete, therefore the bulb doesn't glow. Now in this case what you have done is, you have connected one terminal of the bulb to the positive terminal of the battery. So this is connected. The other terminal of the bulb, which is here, is also connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So what about the negative terminal? So again the negative terminal is missed out. It is not even involved in the circuit. So in this case also the circuit is not complete, and therefore there will be no current flow and the bulb will not glow. Now in the third case, what happens is, again one terminal of the bulb, which is the base of the bulb, is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, but the other terminal of the bulb is connected to the bulb itself. So again in this case the negative terminal is left out, so the circuit is not complete. In the fourth case, you see the positive terminal and the negative terminal are connected to each other, but what about the bulb? So only one terminal of the bulb is connected to the positive terminal. The other terminal is not at all involved. So therefore again the circuit is not complete. So if we want to connect the bulb with the cell, we need to ensure that the two terminals of the bulb are connected to the two terminals of the cell. So let us look at some of the correct ways of connecting the two. So this is one correct way where you connect one terminal of the bulb with the positive terminal of the cell, this one, and the other terminal of the bulb with the negative terminal of the cell. So in this case you see, both the terminals of the cell are connected to both the terminals of the bulb. So in this case current flows through the circuit, therefore the bulb glows. Now there are many different ways in which you can make the circuit complete. For example, you can also connect this terminal of the bulb with the positive terminal of the battery and the base terminal to the negative terminal. So it doesn't matter which terminal of the bulb you are connecting to which terminal of the battery. So if you connect any terminal, just that the circuit needs to be complete, and then the bulb will glow. You can also do it in this way, that you connect this base terminal of the bulb to the negative terminal of the battery, and you connect the other terminal to the positive terminal. Or you can also connect this ribbed side to the negative terminal and the base to the positive terminal. So these are some of the ways in which you can connect the bulb and the cell, which will make the circuit complete, and therefore the bulb would glow. So with this you can understand that electric cell is important because it generates electric current in the circuit. And it is also important that you connect the bulb to the electric cell in the right way, because if you do not connect it in the right way, there will be no current flow in the circuit, and therefore the bulb would not glow. So with all these observations, what do you conclude? We conclude that the aim what we have here is to create a complete conducting path from positive terminal to negative terminal of the battery. So in each of these you see you have a complete conducting path from positive to negative terminal of the battery. So now we saw a lot of criteria which are important for a circuit to be complete, for electric current to flow through the circuit, and for the bulb to glow. But sometimes we observe that the bulb doesn't glow even if the circuit is complete, even if the circuit contains only conducting materials. Even then the bulb doesn't glow. So everything is perfect with the circuit. The cell is connected in the right way with the bulb. The circuit doesn't contain any insulating materials. There is no breakage in the circuit. But still the bulb doesn't glow. Now, do you know why that happens? That happens because something goes wrong inside the bulb. So let us try to understand the structure inside the bulb which actually glows, because when the current flows through the circuit, the bulb glows. So which part of the bulb glows, which gives us so much of light? So it is the filament of the bulb. So where is the filament? So This structure which you see inside the bulb, which is made up of a metal, is known as the filament of the bulb. And this filament is made up of a metal called tungsten. And the speciality of tungsten is that it has a very high melting point. So it has a high melting point, because of which when it is heated, when electric current flows through it, the current heats up this filament. Now since it has a very high melting point, so it doesn't melt easily. Melting point means the point or the temperature at which any substance starts melting. Now since this metal has very high melting point, so it will not melt easily. So even if we heat it to a very high temperature, it doesn't melt. It doesn't melt, but it start glowing, it start producing light, and that's how we receive light. So that this is very important. Because of this reason, tungsten is used in the filament of bulb, because if we use any other metal, as soon as current starts flowing through the filament, that other metal will melt, and when it melts, obviously it will break. The filament will break and there will be no light produced. So that's why tungsten is specifically that filament which has been chosen to be the filament of bulb. So that's how the bulb works. Now sometimes what happens is the filament breaks. Now when the filament breaks, what happens? Now the circuit is broken. Basically when the current flows through the circuit, the current actually flows through this filament, because of which the filament gets heated, and that's how it produces light. But now the path is broken. So therefore there will be no heating up of the filament, and therefore there will be no light production. So the bulb doesn't glow. And this type of a bulb is said to be a fused bulb. You would have often heard that sometimes in your house when you switch it on, the bulb doesn't glow. And then your parents, they check the bulb and they say that the bulb is fused. So we need to change the bulb, or we need to change the filament of the bulb. So that this is what is known as a fused bulb. So when the bulb is fused, the filament is actually broken. So when the bulb is fused, so here let's say this is a fused bulb. So since it is fused, so inside how the circuit is complete. So the current will flow like this, right? So when the current flows through this, it also needs to flow through the circuit. Now when it is broken here, so the entire circuit becomes incomplete, and therefore there is no current flow, and therefore the bulb doesn't glow. So this is another important factor which is important for bulb to glow. So the bulb should not be a fused bulb, it should have a proper working filament. We all have observed that bulb in the room glows only when we switch it on. So the switch also plays a very important role there. So what are these switches and what kind of role do they play? How important are they in terms of the electricity, in terms of the electric circuits? So this is another important factor. So the electric switch needs to be in the on position for current to flow through the circuit, because if the switch is off, even though we have everything in the right place, even though the bulb is not fused, even though the circuit is complete, everything is fine, but if electric switch is off, the bulb will not glow. So let's see, what is an electric switch? It is an arrangement to switch the circuit on and off as needed. Now we do not want the current to flow through the circuit all the time. For example, when you are inside the room, only then you need the bulb to be switched on. For example, during the daytime, your room might have ample light, so you do not need to switch on the bulb. So you want to save some electricity, so that time you will keep the switch off. But when you want the bulb to glow, you will switch it on, and then the circuit will be complete, and that's how the bulb will be switched on. So switch gives us this flexibility of switching on the circuit and switching off the circuit as and when we want it. So when you look at this circuit, as I have mentioned before, this is how we represent a switch. So as you see here, right now the switch is off. So when the switch is off, basically the circuit is not complete, and when the circuit is not complete, current doesn't flow through the circuit, so the bulb doesn't glow. Now the moment you switch it on, the circuit becomes complete, the path becomes complete, so current tends to flow, and that's how the bulb glows. So switch plays this simple but critical role in an electric circuit. A switch is also termed as key. It is also known as key in an electric circuit. Now, when the switch is off, that situation, that time, we say that the circuit is open. Why the circuit is open? Because the circuit has an opening somewhere. So as you saw, when the switch was off, that is, it was like this, that time its position was like this. So here you had an opening, so the circuit is open. Whereas when the switch is on, that time the circuit is closed and therefore the bulb glows. And here the bulb does not glow. So that is the importance of switch. So whenever the circuit is open, that means the path breaks. The circuit is broken. There is no complete path for current to flow. So there is no current flow, therefore the bulb doesn't glow. So that's about the electric switch. So based on whatever we have discussed so far, what do we conclude? We conclude that for a bulb to glow or for current to flow through a circuit, the following conditions or the following criteria need to be satisfied. First of all, the electric circuit should be complete. So the entire path should be complete so that the electrons have a path through which they can move, and movement of electrons constitute electric current. The second thing is that the wires should be made up of conducting materials, because these conducting materials allow electric current to pass through them. Insulating materials will not allow current to pass through them. So there should be only conducting materials present in the circuit. Electric cell has to be present to generate electricity, because if there is no electric cell or battery, there is nobody to generate electric current. So obviously there will be no electric current and the bulb will not glow. Bulb should not be fused, because if it is fused, that means the filament is broken. So in that case, again, the circuit will not be complete and the bulb will not glow. Switch in the circuit should be on, because if the switch is in off position, again, the path of the circuit is not complete and therefore the bulb would not glow. So these are some of the important factors which decide that how we can ensure that electric current flows through a circuit. Now, based on whatever basic things we have learned about an electric circuit, let us try to understand how a torch works. Now, I'm sure all of you know what is a torch. Torch provides us light when there is a power cut. When there is a power cut in your house, or if you are going out at night to a place which is very dark and lonely, you carry a torch. It gives you a lot of light. Now, how does a torch works? You have a switch here, a slider switch. So you just slide it and it is switched on, and it gives you light. When you slide it back, it is switched off and it doesn't give you light anymore. So that's how it works. So let us try to understand what is there inside this torch which makes it operate in this fashion. So if now, for better understanding, you can take a torch, just try to open it, and you see that there are batteries present inside the torch. So inside the torch we also have a bulb which actually provides light. So by now we already know that what are the conditions needed for a bulb to glow, correct? So based on all those understanding, we will see in this case also how the torch operates. So before we understand its working, let us look at the internal structure of the torch. So from outside, this is how the torch looks like. But when you look at its internal structure, you will see that there are batteries present here. Now, some torches have 2 batteries, some have 3 batteries. So depending upon the type, the amount of light it provides, it has different sizes of batteries. So battery which are present like this. So you see here 2 cells. They are connected one after another, and the combination of 2 cells form a battery. So note here that the negative terminal of the battery is connected to the positive terminal. So that is very important. How we are connecting 2 cells to form a battery is very important. So battery is one important part. Next thing is bulb. As you can see here, this is the bulb, because bulb is the one which is actually going to produce the light. So inside the bulb, again, you have the tungsten filament, as you can see here. Third is the switch. As you see here, the slider switch. Now as you slide it, the torch is like switched on and off. you have a reflector. So this is the reflector, which is like a curved surface, and the main purpose of this reflector is to redirect the light in such a way that we are able to get a beam of light from the torch. And finally, an outer casing. So this outer covering of the torch, which is often made up of plastic or steel, so that's the outer casing. So inside this casing, all these different parts are present. So this is the outer casing basically. So now let us see how exactly a torch works. So when you look at this internal structure, you see another very important part. Do you see a spring-like structure, this blue color structure which is present throughout the length of this torch? So this is nothing but a spring, which is also termed as a contact. Why is it called contact? Because it connects the different parts of the torch, like the batteries, the switch, and the lamp or the bulb. So the bulb, switch, and the batteries, they are all connected through this blue spring-like structure, and it connects them so that electrical conduction happens between these three parts. That means current can flow, current which is being generated in the battery, that should get connected, that should be able to reach the bulb. So we do not have wires here. Instead of the wires, we have these springs here. So it helps to complete the circuit. So it basically plays the role of the wires here. So it helps to complete the circuit. So these blue wires or these contacts play a very important role. So they are often called as contacts. So they are nothing but thin springs or strips of metal. Now why they should be metal? Because they have to be good conductors. Only then they will allow current to pass through them. Now let's see what happens when we switch on the torch and what happens when we switch it off. Now how do we switch on the torch? We just slide the switch. So let's say we have switched it on. So when the torch is switched on, what happens is the battery is in touch with the bulb. So if you see here, this is the bulb, and the bulb and the battery, they are in touch through these contacts. So again, this is a contact between the bulb and the battery. Now when the both of these are in touch, what happens? The bulb glows. That's what we have learned before also. So if you connect both the terminals of the bulb to the terminals of the battery, so here you can see you are connecting through to the positive terminal like this, here with the positive terminal, and from here to the negative terminal. So you are basically connecting the bulb to the both positive and negative terminal of the battery. So in this case, the bulb will be on. So the bulb will glow. So that is the situation when we switch it on, because the contact stays here. So they are in contact. So the battery and the bulb, they are in contact, and therefore their positive and negative terminals are connected to each other. So in this situation, current flows through the circuit, the filament gets heated, it produces light, and the reflector, kind of redirects the light rays to allow a steady beam to be to fall on other objects, and that is light which we see from the torch. Now what happens when we switch it off? That is when we push it back in the opposite direction, or when we slide it backwards. So in that case, the contact breaks. As you see here, this contact breaks. Now when the contact breaks, what happens? The bulb doesn't glow anymore, because you see the contact is broken. So the contact or the connection between the bulb and the batteries are broken. So in this case, the bulb doesn't glow. So this is the situation of off. So it is basically a very simple construction, just a bulb connected to the battery. Now as soon as you touch the bulb to the battery, it glows. As soon as you take it away from the battery, it doesn't glow. So that is the simple concept here. It is just that we have created a switch outside and have connected a few springs inside, so that with the help of that switch we can build the contact between the bulb and the battery, and again we can break the contact between the bulb and the battery, and that's how the torch switches on and off. If you want, you can check it out yourself. If you have a torch at your home, just try to open it, look at the batteries, and then you can also see the springs present there. You can also have a look at the bulb. It's a very tiny bulb, and then you can actually visualize this entire structure, and you will know it for yourself that it is a very simple thing that is happening inside the torch. So this is how a torch works.
I hope that my dear children, you would have found this video on electricity and circuits useful. If at all you have a feedback to share with me, or you want me to know something about your experience with this lesson, do let me know in the comment section. I'll make sure that I read your comment and also reply to it. Okay, and I will meet you all very soon with the next video with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.